Good morning and welcome to Breakthrough
everybody.
Academy, live here from Melbourne, Australia. If you don't know me, my name is Jay. I'm one of the team members here at Breakthrough. And it is my honor to welcome you to Breakthrough Academy, our Bible study program we run here live every Friday morning, live from our church, where we take a minute to dive deep into the Word of God, not just learning what it says, not just becoming intellectually sound and accurate, but learning to use the Bible as a foundation that we can build our life off, we can build our faith off, we can build our trust in God and build our understanding of God off of. We dive not just into what it says, but into the culture behind it, the writings behind it, how it was written, why it was written, who it was written to, so we can get a better understanding of what the word really means and how we can apply it to our life in the 21st century. And I do that every Friday with my good mate Josh.
Hello, I'm always excited to be here. Because I say that because I'm not someone I don't come from a desire of really loving reading and
No,
I'm not an academic. I'm not academic. You probably get a sense of that. But I love here when people who do love that, like Pastor Peter, we get such the benefit, and it teaches it not in a way, as Jay said, where it's just we're getting information, and then that's all it is. It's not revelation; it's just information. But it's done in a way that's really exciting, and it's like, oh, actually, I really love it, and I want to know more, and then I want to, like you say, how you're teaching us and training us. Then I want to read the Word, and because it's like, I also can get those revelations. I also can hear from God, receive from God, when His Word, because His Word is alive and it trains you, it corrects you, it molds you, it shapes you, and so it's really cool for me and people like me. I'm sure there's quite a few people like me. Where it's like that, and so this is why, and one of the reasons why I love being here every Friday.
I love the fact that I can be teaching you guys who obviously are challenged by the cooler weather at the moment, compared with me.
I was going to say, you've got your summer shirt on.
Still in summer, even though it is very cold outside.
Yeah, I was going to say, you look like someone who's trying to convince yourself summer's not done.
But I love the whole thing is, I don't want to go away and people say, wow. I mean, you have to study the Word as deeply as you do to be able to get stuff. I love it when people go, I'm going to go away and read that because it makes sense and I can understand it, and then I can also read it and get fresh revelation. Yeah. And that's the greatest joy, is that you're getting that revelation, because as you learn it and it becomes rhema to you, then that's what that power, because it says, as the angel said to Mary, no word that God speaks is without the power of its fulfillment. Everything that God speaks has the power
in it.
And I think, like Jay, last week you were talking about you were talking the life group. I heard it like that. But the Pharisees were very close. They were all around Jesus, the author, who the Bible was all about.
And the Pharisees being the people that were the scholars of the Bible. They understood it back to front.
They
knew every word in there.
They knew the corners of it.
They knew all about the Word, but they got nothing from it because they didn't mix faith with it. They didn't have an open heart. They didn't come with a desire to know Jesus. And then they were,
funnily enough, they were blind to it.
It became, and so the Word of God by itself will sit there with untapped potential unless you open it up with your faith, and so that's the whole idea, that you're reading this and it becomes real to you. Then it begins to work in your heart, and then it transforms from the inside out. So let's dig in today.
I think the best way I could describe it is like what Academy has done for me over the last couple of years is it's really given different parts of the Bible identity, and it's given an identity and given when someone goes from being, oh, that's Paul, to, oh, that's Paul who works at that office building. That's Paul who works at that office building and has a hobby of he cooks this, he loves to cook. And that's Paul who does this. And that's Paul who's, and that's Paul whose father founded the church that you used to go to. And that's Paul who had this, that's Paul who used to live on that street where and suddenly that person becomes real and they've got identity to you. That's one of the things about what we've done is all these books have gone from just being, Revelation has gone from just being the chapter about end times to Revelation it's got identity. It's an apocalyptic book. It was written by John to the churches. It was written for a purpose. It was written in an apocalyptic style. It was written, and I've become so much more real about things like, there's such a focus on worship, and there's such a focus on these things in it that I'd never seen before because they're getting identity. And then as you've given me those identities, I can then go into these books, and I can go into these chapters, and I can go into them and get so much more out of them because they've got identity, and I know who it is I'm going to, and I can approach it in the correct.
I think that's a great way of putting it, because it becomes not just words there. It's like I sort of feel the connection with it and who it is, and as we're going to do today, we're going to read through the book of Revelation, and my heart is to get what the purpose it was written for, which is to people say, well, it's to understand the end times. Yes, but it was written to a particular group of churches who were going through particular struggles, and they had to be able to get something from it, and it had to be more than they had to know what was going to happen in the end times, because in reality, those end times are a long way away from them. But you say, well, as long as they didn't know it was a long way away, it would still have the same effect. I think, that's sort of true. You know what I mean? But I think there had to be more than I'm pretending. The rapture's coming. But if the rapture doesn't come, I still got you. And I don't. That doesn't sit with me.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus was doing, was giving them a hope that he knew was.
Yeah, Jesus wouldn't give a false hope.
Yeah. Well, so there had to be something in there that they could get. But if you. Some people have taken this. They say, well, if it's something they could get, then what they saw in Revelation must have been happening and events to their time. So because they're locked into the fact that there must be chronological events happening, well, if it's not in the future, then it must be now.
Yeah.
All right. Instead of saying, hang on a sec, let's try and understand how apocalyptic.
Calypsos.
A pocket of calypsos training it works, and then stop and try and work out what is Jesus trying to share with them, because as we get that, then it becomes real. So we're going to look at, first of all, I just thought this is a general exercise, let's read Daniel chapter 7 just as a starting point, because you'll understand why when you read Daniel chapter 7, you'll say, hang on a second, I recognize this. We're not going to take time though to expand on this. I just want you to get a feel for it and say,
now see how quickly I can find Daniel.
The last of the big prophets.
Yeah.
Daniel, say.
I was worried for a second, but I'm like, you know what? We got there.
Yeah. You have the last of the major prophets and the minor prophets.
I mean, I read Daniel yesterday.
And major is not because they're more important, and minor was not because they were less important.
It's how long the books are.
Yeah, just the four larger books and the
So what are the four? Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and Jeremiah.
Okay, so in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel saw a dream and visions in his mind as he lay on his bed. Then he wrote the dream down and related the following summary of it. Daniel said, I was looking in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea.
What chapter is this, sorry?
7.
7, okay.
And the four great beasts were coming up from the sea, different from one another. The first was like a lion, had the wings of an eagle. I kept looking until its wings were plucked, and it was lifted up from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet, like a man. And a human mind was also given to it. And behold, another beast, a second one, resembling a bear. It was raised up on one side, and 3 ribs were in its mouth, between its teeth. And thus they said to it, Arise, devour much meat. And after this I kept looking, and behold, another one like a leopard, which had on its back 4 wings of a bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I kept looking in the night in visions. Behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrifying and extremely strong, had large iron teeth. It devoured and crushed and trampled down the remainder with its feet, and it was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. While I was contemplating the horns, behold, another horn, a little one, came up among them, and the 3 of the first horns were pulled out by the roots before it, and behold, this horn possessed eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth uttering great boasts. Apocalyptic.
Yes.
Very apocalyptic.
Very much so.
But can you see overlaps with what John saw in Revelation?
Visions, yeah.
And Then I looked up, verse 9, look until the thrones were set up, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His vesture was like white snow, the hair was head like pure wool. His throne was ablaze with flames, its wheels were a burning fire. Okay, you can sort of see it now.
Yeah.
That's again the vision.
He doesn't know about Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like John, sort of like, John's seeing Jesus.
Yeah.
This is Daniel.
He hasn't met Jesus.
Yeah, he met Jesus. And a river of fire was flowing and coming out from before him. Thousands upon thousands were attending him, and myriads upon myriads were standing before him. The court sat and the books were open. So
just quickly, what does yours say in verse 10 about the number? Thousands upon thousands.
Yeah.
Mine has 1,000 thousands, which
1,000 thousands.
Which I just going back to last week when we were talking about the importance of numbers.
Yeah, as long as it's got thousands, I think that's the key one.
Yeah, I was like, it was interesting to see whether
Millions
they
of
missed that.
It's probably trying to work out how it probably says thousands, and it's trying to work out how to put that in English.
Yeah.
Whether it's 1,000 times thousands or thousands upon thousands.
Yeah. But it was just interesting looking at whether like the because 1,000 was
tens of thousands attended
hang on,
him.
we got this.
Yeah.
1,000 is vastness. So whether like a vastness or whether it's just much vastness.
When you say thousands upon thousands, you're saying really big.
But, vast.
Thousands is big.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands is like
interesting.
super big.
I would never pick that up before this reading. But I read 1,000 thousands, and suddenly it's like, oh, that means something.
Means So so it's not the number, it's the and if you keep reading through, what's this? Command Dominion, Daniel's vision interpreted. So this one is. You say, verse 15, as for me, Daniel, my spirit was distressed within me, and the visions in my mind kept alarming me.
Oh, what verse, sorry?
This is now verse 16. I
Verse
approached
16.
one of those who were standing by and began asking him the exact meaning of all this. So he told me, made known to me the interpretation of these things. So now we have apocalyptic teaching, plus we, like with a few times in the book of Revelation, an angel said, you know what this means? I'll tell you what this means. You know what this means. And sometimes when they say what it means, it doesn't always make it doesn't give it total clarity. It's not like as explaining like I would sometimes expect.
He understood.
Yeah. These great beasts, which are 4 in number, are 4 kings who arise from the earth. So it talks about the rulership, the reign, the horns, all those things. But the saints of the highest one will receive the kingdom, possess the kingdom forever. Can you see this is
a lot of overlap with Revelation?
Yeah, very much an overlap with Revelation. So it talks about the 10 horns, what they all mean, and the 4th beast was 4th kingdom. I just wanted to read that for you to sort of get a feel. Revelation's not the only place that you really get this type of vision. It
wasn't the first place.
Yeah, in chapter 8, it gets another vision. And looked to behold a ram which had 2 horns was standing in front of the canal. The 2 horns were long, but one was longer than the other, with the longer one coming up last. I saw the ram budding westward, northward, and southward, and no other beast could stand before it. So this is all chapter 8. And verse 5, while observing, behold, a male goat was coming from the west over the surface. You know what I mean? Lots of who's this? And then he does ask, what does this mean? And he gets interpretations and things like that. So, Revelation, these are the things written in Daniel would have been familiar to them. So, it's not like, oh, here's a book that I didn't even know that existed. It was like, no, very familiar with Daniel. So when Revelation came, it's very familiar. Apocalyptic is not familiar to our style, but it was familiar to them. And like I said, there was actually multiple other books that were books written between the Old and New Testament that were apocalyptic in style. So it was a common style. So they understood it. They wouldn't have been near as freaked out by it as we might, like, what does this all mean? This sounds so weird. To them, it's like, oh, this is the type of language that is used when God is opening up the heavens and giving visions. It's done in this format. And so we've got to try and appreciate it. But what some people have done is become consumed with trying to tie it down. This is this king, this is this kingdom, this is this era, and they're trying to lock it into particular things. You'll notice that my style is you get very little of that here. All right, you can go on the YouTube and you can get plenty of that sort of teaching. I don't do it very much because I find what I try to do is lock into that which I can know, and then that gives you an option to speculate on the other things, but that doesn't become important. You don't need to know those things to get something from it. That's the key. I don't want it to be, unless I understand what the three horns are and what this is, then it doesn't mean anything. No, if I must understand it fully before I can get something from it, I don't think I'm reading it properly, because I think that's the essence. Jesus was sharing this with the 7 churches so they would get the revelation of it, and what they got was able to help them in their current situation. So if I can't read it from that and get that in current situation, I'm not reading it properly. That's I just keep coming back to that. So do I have to understand the 7 years, the 3.5 to 3.5, the Great Tribulation? A lot of people read Revelation and they have one question that's burning in their mind, and so I hear this sometimes with the teachings that I've been following, listening to. It's like, will we go before the tribulation? That's will the rapture? And it's like, don't worry about it.
And the answer is...
And so many times I say, well, don't worry about it. You won't be here. Yeah. Don't worry about it. You won't be here. And I'm like, okay, so basically what we're saying is, whoa, we're out of here. We can just read along.
We just want to know if we can relax or if we should be worried.
Exactly. That's really...
And that's the wrong attitude.
I'm like, I don't think that was the intended purpose, is to say, you guys can relax, you're not going to be part of the tribulation. It was like, I don't think that was what was the whole... And does it tell us we're going to be part of tribulation? Not, yeah, probably. I'm not saying, and I've got my own opinions on those things. I'm just saying, if that has to be what it was all about, then I don't think it could have helped the 7 churches.
The thing is, if the answer was, I'm not saying it is, but if the answer was, you can relax, then it doesn't. Then it's not relevant to you.
Yeah,
It was relevant for them in their time, and it's relevant for us right now.
Yeah,
that's
true. And so,
and I actually think that if the whole point is you can relax, I think that's exactly the opposite meaning and message that he was trying to get. He was not telling them to relax in the sense of, don't worry. He said, don't worry, you're not going to be part of the tribulation. Read all of this stuff that's happening in the 7 bowls and the 7 trumpets, and just be grateful that you're not there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not what he was
trying
to do.
You already have clocked out.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, I don't have to worry about that. Now, so the tribulation become like, so like I said, some of the readings because I've really tried, because it's a very unfamiliar book to me in the terms of, I've known Revelation, but so I've tried to listen widely to try and find out, and the more, sometimes when you get the revelation, it's like, you're banging on the wrong thing, you know what I mean? And it's like, the tribulation, is mid-trib, post-tribulation. Are we going to be caught up? Is the rapture before the tribulation? And then I suddenly look, you know what? The word tribulation, in terms of, in the book of Revelation, from John's reveal, the revelation on, from chapter 4. So chapter 1 is Jesus saying, this is who I am.
Chapter 2 and 3 is the message to the churches.
Yeah, the 7 churches. So in that, it speaks more about the tribulation to the 7 churches than it does in the rest of Revelation. Because there's 2 references in the churches of Revelation, and there's only 1 reference to the word tribulation in the whole of the book of Revelation from that point on. And I would have thought it was all over. The way people talk about the tribulation, I would have thought it's the key to the Revelation. Yeah,
I've always heard it spoken about trials and tribulations, and it's like just painted over the book of Revelations, trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
So it's interesting hearing that. It's it's actually not.
Yeah, so I think it's in Revelation chapter 7.
I think it's the same. Well, I could cover this because we might come to that. That's another point, but
anyway.
Quickly confirm.
Good morning to everyone here, by the way. I don't think
we got Lee and Mark and Judith. This is so cool having.
So good to have you all here. I'm just going to quickly check whether this is right. I'm going to go to the most trustworthy source of all time, ChatGPT.
Caitlin will be
proud. There it is. 7:14. And then one of the elders answered, saying, "These are those clothed in white robes. Who are they, and from where have they come? Where have they come from?" Yeah. Well, they said, "My Lord, he said, these are the ones who have come out of the great tribulation, and they washed their robes and made them white."
The great pressing.
Yeah. So and that's exactly right. The word tribulation, thalibo or Calypso. Actually, let's just have a look from here. it's the great. Now it talks about this as the great tribulation. So that's. So thlipsis.
Yeah.
Okay. Thlipsis is the word for tribulation. What we translate. It comes from the word thlibo, which means to crush, press, compress, squeeze. It just means like you do to a grape. So when you say tribulation, another way it's often translated is suffering or persecution.
Because it just seems like I know it's not the meaning, but it's like the pressing or the tribulation is just like if someone is going to compromise, it'll do it in a way that they will compromise. Like whether it's sooner or later on. I know. Yeah. But it's just sort of an interesting way of thinking about it.
And particularly when it's translated suffering, the people are talking about suffering to come. Well, it's literally talking about the pressing and the squeezing. As a believer, because it sort of said, "Oh God, we're destined for suffering." No, I think that's not quite what it said. We're destined for pressing. We're destined for pressure.
Yeah.
But what happens inside is different.
Yeah, that's it.
That's good.
What that pressure looks like. Okay.
Good morning, Claire.
Morning, Claire. What that pressure looks like can be, a whole lot of ways. But suffering seems to lock it into a very particular style of I'm suffering, I'm going through sickness, or I'm going through, great torment. No, so I really like the concept of just saying it's the squeezing, the pressing, the great squeezing. They've come out of the great squeezing.
Yeah,
this is where they are.
Yeah.
2 Thessalonians 3:3. See how I said that with confidence?
I'll back you.
Oh, yeah, don't. Yepsies. That's because that's not right. Maybe try 1 Thessalonians 3. Yep, okay. Thessalonians, and again, because of our study of the book of Acts, Thessalonians is more comfortable to us, it's familiar to us. It's the book of a church that was under the thlipsis, under pressure, under persecution.
Yeah.
Now we say persecution, with tribulation, suffering. Well, what they were under was a squeezing. And we understood that was very real to them.
Yeah.
It was affecting maybe their jobs, their livelihood, their families. They were under pressure. And so he's writing to them because he says, I had to get out because, it was so intense for you, but you guys are still there, but you're standing fast. And these whole end times, to a church under pressure, Thessalonians, his first letter and his second letter to Thessalonians covers a lot about the end times. It's very relevant to being under pressure, to understand what is happening and where they fit into it. And he also said, people have told you it's all happened. It hasn't happened. Don't worry. They've said it's come. No, he hasn't come. It's still okay. But he said to them, verse 2, we sent Timothy, our brother and God's fellow worker in the gospel of Christ, to strengthen and encourage you as to your faith, so that no man may be disturbed by these afflictions. All right. Now the word afflictions is, guess what? Thlipsis.
You missed it.
Yeah.
Very far.
All right. Same word as tribulations.
Yeah.
As pressure. It's all right. So again, like when I see that, I say we disturbed by these pressings, these squeezings. These, for you yourselves know that we have been, and listen to this, destined for this. Now that word destined, whenever I read that, it's like prophetic destiny, and it's like God says you are destined. I look over at Josh, you are destined for squeezing, and it's like, no, can I take that prophecy? What's that prophecy shield?
Yeah. Destined to be crushed. It's like it's
So I just want to look at that word destined because destined carries a lot of God destiny in it, and I just want to make sure that what it actually is, and it's the word kema, K-M-I, to lie down, to be laid down. Well, how is that destined? Do you know what I mean? To be placed or set, to be applied, to be laid as a foundation, be stored, be set, appointed. So it's to lay something down. In other words, I'm giving it. This is its
rightful spot.
Yeah, this is where it's going to go. This is its right place to be in the. So like in Matthew 3:10, in regards to the axe that lies at the root of the tree, I'm putting it at the root of the tree. So it doesn't hold. It's not a word that talks about God. Destiny to me is God.
No.
It's like God. I give you your destiny is to go to the nations. Your destiny is to be a missionary. Your destiny is to do this. Not to. It's just like this is what. When we're this is what's before us. This is what's laid up for us. As a believer, you are set for pressure.
It's almost like the way I see it now is like that's what this place is like. That's what this place is not for, but it's like that. It's like be like going to like a trampoline park and then we're like, oh, would it be okay if I jump? It's like that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
Well, you're here.
Yeah.
You've come to the park. You come to a trampoline park. You're sort of destined to jump. Like that.
Yeah.
That's sort of the vibe. It's like it's not like thus saith. It's like what. Why would you come here if you're not expecting to do this at some point?
Yeah, it's a natural part of what to expect. You have teamed up with God.
Yeah.
Pressure's now going to come to try and squeeze you and pressure you away from that. It's just what. So it's not. But if I put the word suffering in there, people get a wrong picture. It's like Christians have to suffer. We have to get sick. We have to be poor.
No.
We have to, feel down. We have to. You know what I mean? If I put affliction in there, it's like I'm going to be hurt and damaged. And if I put destiny, it makes it like God's destiny for me is to suffer. All right, that's how people can read that. Instead,
almost makes it feel worthwhile in a second.
It's just like that's my destiny, and therefore you embrace it. Like, okay, if I said your destiny is to be a missionary, well, you must, in order to be a true disciple, you embrace your destiny. This is not about embracing it and pursuing it. This is about recognizing it's part of the territory.
Yep.
That's what it says. It's part and parcel of being a disciple, following Jesus.
Yep.
There is a squeezing and a pressure. It just is. The world we live in will press us, and we shouldn't be particularly surprised by that. In fact, we should understand that that's happening. So that's the context of what it's saying, and that's why the same word in Revelation, but it's only the one time. And it doesn't talk about what's going to happen. It said they've come out of
the great tribulation,
the great pressing. These people have come out from where there was a great squeezing.
I just feel like it's the greatest misinterpretation and misunderstanding of the life of faith, and the greatest misuse, almost, I think is the best word I could use to describe it, of the Christian life, is that our goal is to use God and use the Bible and use these things to avoid tough times. And it's like I feel like so many Christians look for ways to avoid it, like that. The whole concept of Revelation. I need to know Revelation so I can know how I can make sure it doesn't affect me. I need to avoid the tribulation. I need to avoid these things, and that's their heart in it. Is like, how can I keep myself safe? How can I keep, and there's two things you have to be really assured of. But like, here's the thing. Okay, don't clip what I'm about to say and just take it as,
Here we go.
God,
cut this out.
God is not worried about keeping us out of tough times. God is not worried about keeping us out of the pressing, for a couple of reasons. One, okay, He's not scared of it.
Yeah.
That's the key. You have to realize, I think of the story of Jesus in the boat.
Yeah.
The disciples were being pressed. Jesus was also being pressed.
He slept.
But he wasn't worried about it. The same pressing was happening to two people.
Yeah.
One person was freaking out about it because they were trying to avoid the pressing, because they thought the pressing was going to get the better of them.
Yeah.
And Jesus was like, why would I be afraid of something that's under my control? Why would I be afraid of something that's under my Father's command? Why would I be afraid of something that I have authority over?
Yeah.
When the pressing comes, we've got authority over it through Christ, through our inheritance in Christ. We have authority over those things, you know, and it's not, so we don't have to be scared of it because it's not going to get the better of us, you know. And number two, so many times God uses things like pressings, you know, story of Daniel in the lion's den. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were pressed. What happened? God turned it to his glory. Daniel was thrown in the lion's den. What happened? God turned it to his glory, you know. Paul in prison. What happened? God turned it to his glory. All throughout the Bible, there's stories of people being pressed. You know, the ultimate example of it, Jesus being persecuted and to the point of being hung on a cross. What happened? God used it for the ultimate glory we've ever seen. And he was like, and God used the pressing of the world for his glory. You know, I was Joseph, how many times in his story does that happen, you know?
I think that's a really good point. When you look at Daniel, it's got apocalyptic teaching, but then you look at the first part, it's all about the being in the world and being pressed by the world. And guess where they were? Babylon. So the ultimate world pressing place. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego pressed, and the fourth man turns up. Daniel pressed, and the lions. So apocalyptic teaching and under pressure. I'd almost like, Revelation, the seven churches. You're the Daniels, you're the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's.
It really like changes it from like what you're starting with, Jay. They read that, and all they're getting is like doom and gloom.
What can I avoid? What do I need to get away from?
But actually, and then what you said after that, but it's like, okay, this is my destiny. So it's going to happen. But actually, I'm going to overcome it. You know.
And I think that's so there's two elements. First of all, the people say, well, Revelation then teaches, look, in the end we win. So if you go to the final chapter, we win. That's true. It is. It is. But that's not. It is. But there's more to it than that. It's more about, at least we win. No, it's how they win and what you want to do now in terms of who you're lining up and what's the real happening here. Because when you're under persecution, it's like, well, it's the local synagogue that are giving me trouble. It's the Roman authorities that are giving me trouble. You know, the Romans, and the Romans who are throwing us into Colosseums and having us eaten by lions unless we deny Jesus and embrace Caesar as Lord. Do you know what I mean? So it's the Romans. It's the like I said, the local synagogue that's risen up and is causing persecution. It's that they're dragging us off before the authorities. They're kicking us out of the synagogue, making our families make choices over us and things like that. All these things. But I think what Revelation is meant to do is like, whoa, don't lock into just what's happening here. See it in what's really happening. It's a unveiling. I'm going to show you what's happening. I'm going to show you what's going to happen, because in doing that, you'll understand so much better what you're going through. And that's the key for the seven churches of Revelation. It was by seeing this, they understood what the real pressures were, where the squeezing was coming from, who's the ultimate victor. And it was more than like, thank God we don't have to go. Hey guys, I've just been studying the book of Revelation. We don't go through the tribulation, yay! And they're like, well, hang on a sec. To the church at Thessalonica, it'd be a little bit like, we're not going through the tribulation. They're like, too late. Too late.
Can't preach that message here.
Well, I remember in Revelation chapter 2, the second church.
I feel like Thessalonica is there. It's like, you will go through tribulation. Will?
Where are you?
What do you mean, will?
What world have you been in?
In Revelation.
When do you plan on starting yours? Because we started a while back.
Revelation 2
We've
verse 8.
got an ongoing subscription.
To the church of Smyrna, I know your tribulation. So this is one of the I know you're squeezing, I know, and your poverty, but you're very rich. I know what they're trying to do, but you're rich. And the blasphemy by those who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So the local synagogue is just becoming the tool of Satan. But do not fear about what you're about to suffer. Behold, the devil is about. I actually don't know what that word "suffer" is there. I'd be interested. Just
let's have a look.
There's explore. I'm going to guess it is more suffer, not thlipsis.
Yeah, it's a different word.
Pascal. To suffer, to be affected by something from without, to be acted upon, to undergo an experience. So, okay, so you're gonna have an experience put on you.
They were suffering.
Yeah, through you're gonna have experiences pushed on you by this. And the devil's about to cast some of you into prison that you may be tested, and you will have tribulation 10 days. Be faithful in death. Give you the crown.
10 meaning fullness. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong church. That works well with Smyrna, but it's actually the next church. Pergamum says, I know where you dwell, where Satan's throne is. You're right where Satan is working, and you hold fast my name and did not deny my faith, even in the days of Antipas, my witness, my faithful one, who was killed among you where Satan dwells. So,
someone's died.
Yeah.
Someone's been martyred.
They're saying like, we're not going to go through the great tribulation. No, we're going through
The great tribulation.
We're going through tribulation. So to them, to Christians today who just become consumed with
Avoiding it.
I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's what it's not like, take comfort, you're going to be raptured before the great tribulation. That's not the point. Yes, the point is we're going to be raptured and we're going to be rescued out of something when the enemy's judgment comes upon himself through, God brings his judgment on him. You're not part of that. And the key though is not because I've been taken away.
No.
All right? The key is not, I've been snatched away. It's I've made a choice of whose side I'm on. So when the judgment comes, I'm not on that side. I'm not in that group. You know what I mean? I've chosen where my allegiance is. So when judgment is drawn, guess what? I'm not part of that group. So it's not, I've been rescued out of it. It's like I've chosen a particular side, and that side this has happened. So what I want us to do now is I want us to start looking through Revelation.
It's like God saying, he's like, I'm not here to remove you from. He's like, I'm not here to remove the fire. He's like, I'm here to be the fourth one with. He's like, I'm. And it's like, I think there's such a power in the fact that it's like Revelation begins before all this. Like, in the chapters, it's like Revelation 4 onwards is the unveiling of the apocalypse and stuff.
Yeah.
Or the unveiling of the rapture and the unveiling of heaven and all those things. Revelation 2 and 3, before that, is like, hey, to these churches, I know what you're going through, but take heart in what's going through. But even before that, in Revelation 1, was Jesus being like, you're going through, you fear all this, like, remember who you're going through it with. Remember who's on your side through it. Like, look at me in all my glory, and remember, I'm with you through this. You've taken my side. Do you really think it's a good idea to get away from my side right now? It
starts off with look how glorious I am,
and you're with me. I've got your back. I'm taking you through this.
I love the perspective shift with that. Where before it was doom and gloom, but actually you overcome it. With this one, it's like, okay, there is a pressing, there is this, but actually the one that's pressing us. the judgment, I'm actually saved from the judgment that's coming for them.
The judgment's for him, the pressure.
So last week we started talking about the key number in the book of Revelation, which is
3.5.
1260 is 2. It's pick a side.
Yeah.
It's looking at these two sides, and that's important because that's what it's all about. It's actually what side are you on? Whose side are you connected to? Ultimately, because you're not just learning about something out there. You're sort of saying, hang on a second. Everybody's got to choose a side. Everyone's got to be. You got to connect with one or the other. Now this one comes with some thlipsis. It becomes with some pressure. It becomes with a squeezing. But I really like what that produces, and Mark sort of said, some things get crushed. It brings out an aroma. An example is grapes. You know what I mean? You crush grapes and it brings forth wine. Do you know what I mean? It brings forth something which, under the pressure, it actually olives.
Yep.
Olive, you crush the olive and it gets oil. And so these things are symbolic of the fact that pressure comes, but it depends who you are and what's in you and what's working. So let's just go. So the first thing is, let's go to heaven. Let's have some time of worship. Let's see the and one of the things you notice is it's like it never goes too long before they said, let's have a worship break.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's really...
It's like, right through it, they'll be like, let's talk about some bowls and some plagues and stuff. But let's just go to heaven for a little bit. Let's look at the...
They play music more than I do.
Yeah, it is actually... so I'm encouraging you to read this, and one thing to look for is the rising and the rhythms, and look for the worship breaks.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
And it's not like, okay, we just... It's how can I put this? It's not like, we've got to do this. Let's stop and have a time of worship. No, it's like, while this is happening, let's remember what's happening around the throne. Yeah. While this is happening, let's remember what's happening around the throne.
I think
it's like It's like, can we just do some work? It's like I get all the tribulation and stuff. Yeah. Can we just do a bit of worship again? Let's just go back there. That's more fun.
It's like the camera's on here, and as we swing back. They're worshipping, and we go. Let's swing back. They're worshipping.
It's like in TV shows, or when there's like a cliffhanger, they go to an ad break. We're just going to a worship.
We're just going to a worship.
Just hold the phone for a second.
Hold a second.
Yeah. It's like if sort of it's like, it's so intense, and you go, actually, it's not intense for this group over here. Just a reminder. This is what they're doing.
It's like,
this is what the believers are doing.
Yeah, that's good.
You're being pressed, and they want you to go one way, but you go one way. Just worship for a moment here. Yeah. You know what I mean?
See what it's like in heaven. Yeah, remember that. Remember it's worship. Okay, because sometimes you go, this is all. No, it's actually there's worship and ministry of the Lord. Okay, back here. So 4 and 5 is the first of these, and it says like, who's going to open the seals?
Yeah, I love that.
Jesus is all in charge.
Revelation 4 is genuinely 4 or 5 genuinely became like possibly my 2 favorite chapters of the Bible over this study.
And so they swing. So I am not going to try and interpret hardly anything, because that's not the point. If I have to interpret,
I love what Mark said. Paul and Silas nailed it.
Yes,
we're in prison. Let's do a worship break.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we got time for a worship break.
Yeah, we're sort of so the idea is capture the heart of it. What are we looking for? So we're looking for the worship fits in the 2, because that's what's happening in heaven. But there's another side to what's happening. But which side do I, now you say, well, do I get to choose? Yeah, I choose to be a part of that. Now, under the pressure, but I can still choose where I'm at. So we're looking the lamb. Now, it's interesting, when the lamb's introduced, it's not the lamb and the devil are introduced. The lamb, God, Jesus. Now, the devil's there. And in the churches, the synagogue of Satan, he said, you're where Satan's throne is. So Satan is a real character, a personality that's part of their understanding. That you've got to see all this in the light of Satan. But always remember, when we talk about 2, we're not talking about 2 equal powers. We're not talking about Jesus and the devil as the 2 halves.
It's not like the yin yang.
Yeah,
this is not balanced.
This is Jesus, the Lamb, the Creator of all. And talks about being the Creator, God, the one who opens. Says no one's worthy. He's worthy. He's the Lamb slain. He's the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
This is the victor and the defeated.
But Satan is there. So we're going to look for 2 sides. And what I want you to look, there's one of the key things, 2 women. There's 2 women in the book of Revelation. In the book of Proverbs, I did a series many years ago where I talked about the woman of Proverbs. This is a long time ago, because I got Caitlin as a teenager to be an example. When I had to get the woman, can someone remind me, the woman of wisdom. I had a woman of wisdom, because when you look at the book of Proverbs, in the start, it talks about wisdom, and it talks about her. And some people say, is it actually a physical? No, it's apocalyptic type understanding. It personifies a concept.
It's the personification of wisdom.
Yeah, it's a personification of wisdom. But then I got to understand that that in Proverbs there's 2 women. Because it's not just the personification of wisdom; it's the woman of folly. So you have the woman of folly and you have the woman of wisdom.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And it's actually a choice between the two.
Yeah.
And the woman of folly will cause you to do folly means like stupidness. The woman will make you do unwise things versus the woman who is wisdom. Now, come into the book of Revelation, there's two women, right? And two key women. Which woman am I going to be a part of? And that's very much a part of how God sees us. Paul talked about, he said, I'm preparing you, the church, like the bride of Christ.
Yeah.
I'm presenting you as the bride. To be his bride. We are seen to be a woman, and we're being prepared. So when we read through this, there's going to be two. Look for the two women. All right? When do they occur? What's their characteristics? Because we got to choose which one we're connecting with. Which one we're going to hook up with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which one we're going to become a part of. And so chapter 6, the 7 seals. Now, what I can suggest to you, if you want to sometimes, like, there's so much happening here, but there's definite steps. I've tried to do it in my Bible. When you read through, you can do one reading where you're just trying to do the numbers, like the 7 seals are broken. All right. So in chapter 6, the first of the 6 seals are all broken, and then the 7th one is not till chapter 8. All right. So the 1 to 6 have a little interlude. Not unusual.
Worship break.
Revelation. Yeah, a little worship break. Little let's check. And then we do the 7th seal. Now, and then there's 7 trumpets. So it does the first 4 trumpets in chapter 8. Then chapters 9 does 2 more trumpets. But the last trumpet's not done till chapter 11. There's a little bit like that. We do the first ones, a little bit of a break, and then the last one comes in. And often there's an understanding almost that in that 7th seal is a whole lot of other stuff happening inside that time and inside. So it's a Bush Godol type mentality.
Yeah.
All right. So you can actually go through, number them all, find the 7 seals, find the 7 trumpets, find the 7 bowls, find the 7. Well, I think there might be another one. 7. Anyway, you can find them. 7. You can also go to something like the ESV. If you're looking for a chart, go ESV outline of the Book of Revelation.
Yep.
All right, and then you can just download. I say ESV because you say outline of the Book of Revelation, you just could get anything. So I just
ESV we trust.
ESV, English Standard Version. They put out
That's what my Bible is.
study notes.
Yep.
And
It'd probably be back of my Book of Revelation.
No, they don't have it in that particular study Bible. But you can go and get. So I say ESV outline of Book of Revelation. That will give you. But all it's doing is just working through this, but it's not doing the emphases. Just emphasis, I think.
It's not emphasizing.
Yeah. So we're looking through. I'm not going to do that in this reading. I'm not going to try and do that because that would put a layer on this which is too hard. We're just kind of skipping through, hitting the high points, trying to work out the rest, and trying to find out when these key characters are. Because a lot of things people just presume, like the devil, he doesn't turn up in the first part. You sort of think you think the devil's all over the Book of Revelation. He's not. He's a character that comes out, and people who read the Book of Revelation chronologically think this is when the devil comes and does this. No, he's been there the whole time. It's just we don't talk about him till now. We can do this.
Well, it's like we were talking about it before. I was saying when I was checking ChatGPT, I was correct. I was correcting it. How many times in Revelation do you think they discuss the Antichrist?
I don't know how many times.
None.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
The Antichrist who would have been is referenced 4 times in 1 John.
yeah,
1 John, twice in 1 John 2.
yeah. I would have said a lot, based on Revelation.
Yeah.
And 3 times in 1 John 2, 1 time in 1 John 4.
The great
He's
pressing,
mentioned 1 time in 2 John. And but he's never mentioned
Not,
in
not by
Revelation.
not by the
Not
name,
by
name
so they said-
Antichrist.
So there's a lot of other discussions of things like the beast in the book of Revelation, the little horn in the book of Daniel, or
Yeah.
the man of lawlessness in Second Thessalonians. But no, it's like, but again, if you were to ask me where the Antichrist is most commonly mentioned, I would have absolutely said Revelation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's actually never mentioned by name in the book of Revelation. But again,
No, but
people go in looking to the book of Revelation looking for the Antichrist, and like it's like, but that again, like
Gotta
with
be
the
aware.
like with the tribulations, it's like I feel like that's all people think of with Revelation is things like
Yeah.
Antichrist, tribulations, all the bad stuff, you know.
Yeah, so you've got the beast, you've got the dragon,
Exactly.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's a great point. Yeah, Antichrist, I would have just thought, well, it's everywhere. No, it's not. And that's a little bit of. So we're just trying to break some of the
Tribulations, I would have thought is everywhere, but
Yeah.
it's only.
So so chapter 6, 6 seals. So the white horse, the red horse, the black horse, the pale horse, the souls of the martyr. Number 5, number 6,
what, chapter
earthquakes.
6? Yeah.
So chapter 6 is just and then in chapter 7. So we've done 6, and all of a sudden, and it's almost like verse 17. I've got a little note here. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to stand? Who is able to stand under all this? Oh, everything. Well, after this. I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth, so no wind should blow on the earth and on the sea or any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun, having the seal of the living God, and he cried out with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed the bond servants. We have sealed the bond servants of our God on their foreheads. What are we talking about here? And then I heard the number of those who were sealed. 144,000 sealed from every tribe of the sons of Israel. From the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Reuben, go through the 12. There's some interesting stuff in there. What tribes aren't mentioned and are and stuff like that. But anyway, who are these 144,000? What are we talking about here? And why are they sealed? So a couple of things with this. Again, it's like a little bit of an interlude. Who's able to stand, he said. And then all of a sudden he's getting a vision of these 144,000. And so I'm going to try and give you guys a little bit of background, because this is stuff that they would have understood in reading this. All right, so we're not sort of saying, oh, here's a code. No, this was things that they would have been familiar with, or that John or the others who would have been able to teach them were familiar with. And so if you, for instance, you go back to let's start with this scripture. Numbers chapter 1 verse 3. So this is just
Numbers chapter 1.
Numbers chapter 1.
Wow,
verse
was not expecting to go there.
Yeah, well, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into like original teachings and stuff like this, because a lot of this is overlap. Like you can see Daniel and stuff like that. You go back. This is not coming out of nowhere. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These concepts are rooted in here. So Numbers chapter 1 verse 3 is when you get the 12 tribes and you number them, look what they're numbering. From 20 years old and upward, whoever is able to go out to war in Israel, you shall number them by their armies. So it's a military census. With you, moreover, there shall be a man of each tribe, each one of his one head of his father's tribe. These are the names of the men who shall stand with you: Reuben, Simeon, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh, Benjamin, Dan, Asher, Gad, Naphtali. So do you pick up the 12? We've got the 12 tribes.
Yeah.
And they're being numbered for a census of those that are the soldiers.
Who are ready to go
20
to war.
or
Okay, these are the people who are able to go to war. So in the Bible, you have a census where they count the number of people from the 12 tribes,
Yeah.
and it's so that they're the ones that go to war.
Okay.
In the book of Revelation, they do a head count. What of the 12 tribes? So is it these are the warriors.
Yeah.
This is the Lord's army, because this is the perfect army. The 12 times 12.
Yeah.
Governance, authority, Israel.
Yeah.
Times 1,000. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bus. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a stack of them. and they're the Lord's army. They're from every tribe. These are the Lord's army. This is his people. All right, so reading this is not about 144,000. This is like, that's us. This is one way of representing us. You're going to see the bride of Christ. You're going to see the woman here. You're going to see this. You're going to see Jerusalem. You're going to see the temple. I'm going to see a whole lot of things representing us. 144,000. That's us, buddy. All right, we're the army.
Yeah.
All right, and I was saying, do not harm them. We have sealed them, and I heard the number of those who were sealed. 144,000 sealed from a. So can you see this whole sealing thing? Putting a seal, putting a seal, putting a seal, putting a seal. Let me just see if I can find. Probably the verse that's. All right. Okay. If I talk about putting a mark on you or a seal in the book of Revelation.
Mark of the beast.
Mark of the beast.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah. If I said, in the book of Revelation, it talks about getting a mark on your forehead or your wrist. We're talking about
Mark of the beast.
Mark of the beast. Do you know how many times the mark of the beast is mentioned? Not many. Do you know how many times getting marked is mentioned? Multiple times. All right. This is the first time it's talked about, and it's not talking about the beast or the people of the world. It's talking about the army of God. Get his seal on their forehead. So people say, I'm not going to get the mark of the beast. This is not about not getting the mark of the beast. This is about whose mark do you get.
Yeah.
There's 2 marks.
2 marks.
Yes.
One's in the comments.
There's Mark Stockwell.
Yeah.
So there's 2 marks. Definitely right throughout 2 marks.
Yeah.
One mark is talked about way more than the other one. Mark of the beast is the lesser one.
That's unlike people's interpretations of Revelation to look at the solemn negative aspect.
Doesn't make sense at all.
All right. So now what we've got to do is
Because Revelation's only about the Antichrist and the tribulations.
Okay, so let's
the
go
things that aren't mentioned
let's
there.
go to Deuteronomy 6. This is a very famous passage for the Jews. Jesus quoted it.
Well,
Deuteronomy 6.
Deuteronomy 4. I almost did it. Smack bang on.
Josh, that proves that you.
Deuteronomy 7.
I know what this means.
Yeah, you're right. Deuteronomy 6, and this is a phrase that they put. In fact, they've dug up in Dead Sea Scrolls and other places and throughout history. They'll find out little scrolls and they pull it out and get these scriptures are in it. This is what they kept. So it's plus some other ones, but this is one of the key ones. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God. The Lord is one. Verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God. The Lord is one. Actually, I should pull this up in my actual Bible because I'll have notes in the margin.
Where did you go to?
I was still in Revelation. Hear, O Israel, that is called, the Hebrew there is Shema Yisrael. Shema Israel. Hear, O Israel. So this is called the Shema. All right, when the Israel, which is from
The calling.
the hear this. It's hear, not just hear, listen. I've got let these words sink in. All right?
Receive them.
Receive them. And the Hebrew, therefore, do, and therefore do, because in Hebrew, hearing and doing are the same thing. If you really hear something, you do it. If you don't do it, you haven't heard it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Okay?
Right.
If you don't do it, you haven't heard it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right? In the Western mindset, we can easily make that distinction. You can hear something or you can do something. No, if you truly hear it, you will do it. So when it says Shema, it's hear with an obedient, absorbing mind. Hear, O Israel. This passage is like absorb this and live it. The Lord your God is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. Jesus quoted this. With all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be on your heart. And you shall teach them diligently to your sons, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by their way, when you lie down, when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead. Where was the mark of the beast?
On your forehead.
Forehead or on your wrist.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, that's not the first time a mark's been
Put in those spots.
put in those
Yeah.
spots.
Yeah.
Why? It represented whole
Ownership.
You receive it. What do we say? You hear and you obey. It's on your hand. Talks about you do it.
Yeah.
It's on here means you receive it.
Yeah.
I receive it and I do it. I hear it and I'm obedient to it. It's marked. So then the Jews are like, wow, guess what we've got to do? We've actually physically got to bind the word of God on our forehead and our thing. So they did, the Greek word for this is a phylactery. I'm going to just take a punt here. There's always dangers. Oh, I've got to find apocalypse. That must have been the last thing that we did. That's pretty cool. So I'll do an image of a phylactery.
Spell that correctly.
I hope I have. Phylactery, phylactery. So if I go over the page. All right, let's see. Where's the phylactery?
No,
Okay, here's like an ancient link viewing one. All right, so these are actually some phylacteries. So in there they'd put the word of God, and then you strap them on. And then here's some of the scriptures they would use, put in them. So this is a Jewish encyclopedia explaining that. I wanted some pictures of people wearing phylacteries. So let's see if this guy's got a phylactery. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Look at this guy. Thank you, fast internet. Come on. Okay, let's see. All right. Look what he's got bound to his forehead.
Phylactery.
That's okay. Some scriptures are being put in there, and look what he's got bound
His wrist.
wrist. Okay, so they took this
Literally.
literally. That's why in tombs and old, ancient sort of places, they've found phylacteries, and that's why they put them out. They found the scriptures.
Yeah.
So that this is some of the most ancient things they can find is some of these references to that. So they said, if he said to bind it on our forehead and bind it on our wrist, we're going to bind it on our forehead and bind it on our wrist. And so you might say that to the Jew, I think he was talking figuratively, and they're saying, how much more powerful to do both?
Yeah.
I can't wait. Soft tacos, hard tacos.
Yeah, you sort of say, yeah, it is figurative and literal. Look how awesome we are.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? You, figurative only person.
Yeah.
Yes, you think we're doing one or the other. No, we're doing both. You are doing maybe one. But because you're not doing it literally, I'm not sure you're doing the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I mean? So that's, I don't think God was intending for them to walk around like that. All right? I think it was representative of an embracing of something in your whole life. What you have on your head, what you have on your wrist, shows your allegiance and what you're connected to and what you've embraced. You've embraced the Lord your God, who is one. You love him with all your heart, mind, and soul. So what is on your head and what is on your forehead is a representation of where you stand. It's your, it's when they say nail your colours to the mast, it's like when you say, okay, I'm on this side and I've taken a side. I've taken a side. So God looks down and he finds an army and he says, whose name is on their head?
Yeah.
All right, so go back to Book of Revelation.
I was just a quick sidetrack. Do you reckon? I'm guessing that would tie into I was thinking with the Catholic Church with Ash Wednesday, where you do the cross to begin Lent.
I don't know.
I was trying to look up the history of Ash Wednesday there to see if it ties into that.
So they put a
So to start, you can sort of see there to start at the start of Lent for the first 3 days. You put I saw a lot of people had Catholic friends and stuff who were doing that to the start of Lent, which Feb 18th I think was this year. It was the 40 days leading up to Easter.
Yeah.
Lent, because I was looking into it then, and at the first day or the first 3 days, I think you put the cross on your head as a marking of it's ash out of the fact that it's the remembrance of our mortality compared to So I was interested with that, and the fact that they do it on the forehead, whether that ties into either Revelation or into Deuteronomy.
Yeah. I'm guessing it.
Or whether it's just
without knowing, I'm guessing it ties in the fact it's a sign of whole ownership.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's a sign. So
I just thought it was interesting because a lot of this stuff can be like, oh yeah, that might be relevant back. Oh yeah, well that was relevant back then, but it's not relevant now. Like, well, it is actually it is still a practice that does take place in some corners of religion in 2026. You know.
So. Yeah, and so
I just thought it was interesting seeing that dynamic of it.
Sign of ownership, a sign of belonging, and in chapter 7 it says they were sealed. They had the name of God on them. All right. So that's a sign to the 7 churches. Now, what we're looking for is all through the eyes of the 7 churches. The ones that are part of God's army, the 144,000, they've got His name. They've signed up. They're in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, they belong. That's who they are. And so then you see from the tribes, so the 12 tribes. And after these things, I looked and behold a great multitude. Now, often people say, "Well, you saw that. Now he sees this." Almost. There's also I saw them as 144,000. Now I see them. Now it's like the lamb, the lion. The lion, the lamb. You know what I mean? I see. I'm not seeing 2 different things. I hear it of the lion, and then I look and I see a lamb. And I heard of these 144,000, and now I look. And after these things, I look and behold a great multitude, which no one could count, from every nation and all the tribes and peoples and tongues, standing before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed in white robes, and palm branches were in their hands. I'm saying, fresh view of the same thing. The army of God, now we see this is the people of God. And they cry out with a loud voice, saying, "Salvation to our God, who sits on the throne and the Lamb." To the Lamb. Again, we've had the 6 seals.
Yeah.
See the army, and now we see them worshiping. You know, and they fell on their faces before the throne and worship. Amen. Da, da, da. And one of the elders answered, saying to me, saying to me, "These who are clothed in the white robes, who are they, and from where have they come?" He said, "I got no idea." He said, "My Lord, you know." He said, "These are the ones who have come out of the great tribulation." So this is that scripture, out of the great pressing, and they have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. For this reason they are before the throne of God, and they serve Him day and night in His temple.
I love that the one reference of the tribulation is actually in a really positive. It's in a really positive sense.
They've come out.
It's a really positive verse, and it's really uplifting and exciting. It's a celebratory verse. It's like they've come out. Look, this is the celebration. It's the miracle. It's the look at the celebrations that are taking place where they've come out of, and everyone's, we have to go through it. It's like it's a celebratory verse, and all people can get out of it. Oh. Christians are wonderful sometimes.
They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun beat down on them nor any heat. For the Lamb in the center of the throne shall be their shepherd, and shall guide them to the springs of water of life, and God shall wipe away every tear from their eyes. Yeah. And some people are reading that. Is this us post-tribulation, pre-tribulation? You know, don't worry about it. That's like I'm sorry. You can worry about it.
I'm not focused on that.
Yeah, but that's not the purpose. It's like, wow, can you see this? And who is it? The ones that God's put His name on. Look at these people.
You remember when we talked a couple months, or actually it would have been last year during Academy, about 1 Corinthians, or the book of and we said 1 Corinthians is a letter written, and like by the writings, it's pretty clear. It's not the first time Paul would have actually written to them. It's just the first one that's been.
That's been. It's at least there's back and forth.
Back and forth. So this isn't the first communication Paul has had with the church in Corinth, and it's like the whole time it's like quite clear it's Paul's response to them, and they've written about all these questions about when are we allowed to do this? Are we allowed to eat these foods? Are we allowed to do this if we do this? And are we allowed to say this or wear this? And you can tell Paul comes across as like antsy, like frustrated. It's like I can answer this stuff, but he's like, that's really not what I'm focused on. It's like I really want to talk to you about, And then in the middle of it, we get like the greatest chapter, like chapters on love, and love is patient, what love is, and it's like Paul's like, I really want to talk about this love concept, but I have to keep answering all these like religious questions.
Paul's saying,
it's like, can we just leave that stuff for a minute so we can talk about what really matters? And it's like that's how I read 1 Corinthians now, is from a frustrated author being like, I can answer all these questions for you, but I'd rather just deal with the stuff that matters really importantly, like love and these concepts. I feel like if John was writing to a church about Revelation today, he'd be like, I can give you some answers about this tribulation and this and these tribulations and post-trib or pre-trib or mid-trib. He's like, I'm really not. It's like when I was getting
there's a whole lot of other stuff.
When I was getting that revelation, I wasn't too worried about that stuff. There's a reason I didn't write much about it. Because they're like, oh, John, why didn't you write more about it? It's like, because I wasn't too focused on it when I was getting the revelation.
Yes.
It's like, I wrote what I was focused on. I wrote what was catching my attention. I wrote what I thought was more important. And what John obviously found more important was all this other stuff, not when in the tribulation we're going to get taken. And it's
funny that sometimes
if I found that important, I would have written it down.
Isn't it funny, Jay, that sometimes people are not on the same page.
Exactly.
So, and that's a great point. Yeah, I feel
like John was just like, if that was important, it would have been. If it was really important to know that, I would have written it in there somewhere. You
look at, you don't have to turn here. The book of Jude starts with, he says, I was making every effort to write to you about our common salvation. In other words, I really wanted to write to you all about what our salvation is. But I felt it necessary to write to appealing to you, contend earnestly with faith, because you guys are getting so messed up, I've got to sort you out. So he says, I really had a letter planned all about how great our salvation is, but I've just got to come and deal with it.
I've got to deal with the common things first.
And that's why, if you go back into my teaching on the book of Acts and look at the one on Ephesus, I was fascinated that Ephesus this is what he writes when he's not having to be constrained by the stuff that everyone's talking about. So you can do that. Good morning, we've got Joe Rose joining us.
It's good to have so many people. We've had so many people on this one. Joe and Sheba, obviously. Are given to Judith, to Mark, to Katie, to Claire, to Pastor Christine, to Lee up in Queensland, to KTMT on YouTube, to everyone who's joining us today. So good to have you all here.
And Judith put it in the Philippians 3:10. We're talking earlier about the fellowship of his sufferings.
I was actually going to say I was going to say it at the end, but when we're talking about the suffering stuff and like how what it actually means to suffer and why Christ isn't concerned about it, the thing that gave me the best revelation has changed my mindset on it the most is read through the book of Philippians. Philippians is such an incredible example of God using someone's pressing for his glory, and where Paul being like, it's not a bad thing to be. He's like, because he's run to a church where they were mad for Paul that he was being pressed, and he's like, I'm not stressing about this sort of thing because I see God's using it for my glory. And he's like, and then he goes to talk about the authority we have over it when he talks about in chapter 2. We have the taking the name that is above every name. He's saying the name that he's like, I've got a name with me that is above this. My opposition that's pressing me right now, the name I carry is above them. So I'm not too worried about what they're doing because I know I have the final authority and the final victory over them. Like he makes that so clear. So he's like, and then in chapter 1, all of it is about like, hey, if you're being pressed, it's actually, it's exciting. He's like, look at what Christ is doing through that. He's like, Christ, the message of the gospel was being preached more because of Paul's suffering. He's like, that's the goal,
So we can look at the 7 angels because, agree, it's like, this gives us a perspective and like we're seeing it from heaven's perspective and like Paul was like, this, don't be so focused on it because there's other things that are my focus. And so chapter 8, the 7 angels, they've got now 7 trumpets, 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice there's overlap with a whole lot of things, so many Old Testament things. Like when they open it, it's like the 4 horsemen in Zechariah it talks about the horses.
It's almost like it's the same God.
Yeah, and in here it's like hail, blood, darkness. These are actually the 7th plague, the 2nd plague, the 9th plague. They actually got overlap with the plagues in Egypt. The 3rd angel said wormwood. I'm not sure if there was a plague that particularly matched that one. I couldn't find that reference. But fifth angel, locust, plague number 8.
I watch chapter we're in at the moment.
So now we've gone to chapter 9.
Yeah.
And the locust, and then there's all about these scorpions, and they're really creepy scorpions, and they have hair like women, hair of women, and teeth were like teeth of lions, breastplates open. I do wonder whether he's seeing like a modern like battle. Like a helicopter type thing, and he's like, describe that.
Yeah,
it's like a scorpion.
That's true.
Where do I start?
The hair's everywhere.
A helicopter. I never thought of that before.
I'm saying I don't understand. This is the best way I can do it. So some people like that's what that is.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Just maybe, but we're sort of
Big bird in the sky.
So and.
You remember in life group a couple of years ago, Dad, when you used to lead the Freedom Life group, and you gave us the challenge of, in 1 John, how would you describe your salvation, that you're saved, without pointing to the moment of your salvation? And it's like, it's very tough. I feel like it's like saying John had the job of explain to everyone what's going on here when they can't see it and you haven't seen it before. It's like, to be fair, I think he's done a pretty good job of explaining this.
Yeah. There's one was like, I heard it. It was like this. It was actually like this. It was like this. It was like harps. It was like thunder. It was like
this.
It was just.
There's a lot of noise.
It was hard to explain. And so the 6th one sounded. I'm sort of skipping through. Chapter 8 and 9. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here, and it's here. I'm not saying it's not relevant because John gave it, and it was an important part of Revelation. I'm saying, let's not make sure let's not miss the key elements, because it's saying all these things are happening. But remember, 144,000, the worship. Then we do it. So in between, we've got these little refocus on what it's all about. And then in chapter 10, the strong angel, another strong angel coming down out of heaven, clothed with a cloud. Some people say, is this Jesus? Because it's like got so many Jesus-like things, his rainbow was upon his head, his face was like the sun, his feet like pillars of fire. That's Jesus. But it actually says it was another strong angel. I'm guessing it was another strong angel. Right? I don't think that was Jesus.
Take that one to the bank.
And he had in his hand a little book, which is open. He placed in the right foot. So okay, so that's all about what he shares out of a little book, which we're not allowed to. I think he sealed up, said you can't tell people this. What? Boo! All right, chapter 11. So it's all happening, and then we've got the little scroll by the strong angel, so that's a bit of an interlude. And now we have another interlude, and there was given me a measuring rod like a staff, and so on said, rise up, measure the temple. Oh, so we're looking at the temple. Temple is often a reference to the church.
Yep.
We're the temple of God.
Yeah.
And so measures out. I won't go into that. I think it's interesting that measure it 42. Talking about it's not the full measure. It's only not the full stuff.
42 is 3.5.
Yeah. So it's like 3.5, which
It's
means
3.5 years.
It's incomplete. It's not worth stressing over because it's incomplete. And they'll and he said, hey, they can have the outside of the court, but you've got the inside of the temple, which is sort of like, hey, they can mess around outside, but they can't touch the inside. And I'll grant authority to my witnesses, and they will prophet to my 2 witnesses. Suddenly there's 2 witnesses. And they'll prophesy for 1,260 days, 3.5 years, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands. 2. Now this 2 is not the 2 comparisons. It's just because there's 2 of them. 2 lampstands. What are lampstands? Lampstands in Revelation, the 7 churches. Yeah. The churches are lampstands. And he said, here, these 2 guys going around, and they're lampstands. So I think they represent the work of the church. Do I believe there are 2 physical people that are going to do this? I probably think there will be, but I'm not locking into it because it's so there's so many things. And the 2 olive trees, if you go back, that's a reference back to...
You're never going to lock in so much that we can't now go further.
Yeah, it's probably, but some people get really upset if you say, do you believe there's 2 literal witnesses? I'm not sure. You don't believe the Bible. you really got to understand Revelation before you become.
You got to understand apocalyptic.
Yeah, before you get too much on that path. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's actually two physical witnesses.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not saying there can't be physical as well as symbolic. And they two olive trees in Zechariah chapter 4. Just to show you very quickly because we're doing Bible school. Okay, Zechariah 4 is another passage that apocalyptic type teaching. So there's overlap there, and it talks about the lampstands. What do you see? I see a lampstand. It's a gold bowl on top, and 7 lamps, 7 spouts belong to each lamps at the top of it. And I see 2 olive trees. Who would have thought? 2 olive trees in Zechariah. 2 olive trees. 2 lampstands over here. Lampstand over there. And I said to the angel, "What are these, my lord?" The angel, "Do you know what they are?" I said, "No, I do not." I love it.
Thought it was obvious.
Yeah, can't get any more. "This is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel." Zerubbabel was the governor of Israel at the time, and then there was Joshua. This is not Joshua from the Joshua of the Battle of Jericho. This is Joshua the high priest. So Zerubbabel, Zechariah is written Zerubbabel governing, and
High priest.
Joshua high priest. Hey, we're a kingdom. Priesthood, rulership, worship. Oh, and said, he said, "This is the word of the Lord is Zerubbabel, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit." Grace. Okay, what are these two? It comes down to verse 11. What are these 2 olive trees on the right and the lampstand on its left? And the second time said, "What are the 2 olive branches which are beside the 2 golden pipes which empty the golden oil from themselves? Do you not know what these are?" I said, "No, my lord. These are the 2 anointed ones who are standing by the Lord of the whole earth." Doesn't actually answer it. That's 2 anointed
Answered
ones.
symbolism with symbolism almost.
Yeah, so it's almost, or it's like, well, they're the ones that I've been talking about. If it's the ones he's been talking about, it's probably Zerubbabel and Joshua, because they're, which means the 2 olive trees represent the kingship and the
priesthood.
The priesthood coming in to there.
The governance and the work of the rulership and the authority and the
all feeding in. So I just mentioned that because those things overlap, and when you see things like olive trees and stuff like that, these people say, "Oh, we know about olive trees."
Yeah.
And then they come, and these 2 guys, "And if anyone desires to harm them, fire proceeds out of their mouth and devours their enemies." Whoa, I want some of that. "If anyone desire to harm them in this manner, he must be killed." Whoa, I want some of that. "These have the power to shut up the sky in order that rain may fall, not fall." So Elijah, when they came and challenged him, he actually spoke to them and they all died. Remember, didn't they have them twice? This is happening. He spoke and the... So I reckon it's referring to Elijah. And they have power... And the other one, they're prophesying, "And they have power over the waters to turn them into blood and to smite the earth with every plague as often as they desire." I wonder who he's talking about there. Moses.
Yeah.
So there's Elijah and Moses as the 2. Yeah. And it's meant, is it literally Elijah and Moses? I don't think so. But it's talking about Elijah representing all the prophetic, Moses speaking about all the law. And out of Moses and his brother came the Levitical priesthood. So there's priesthood, there's law. Moses was the one that brought all the law and understanding. We had the book. So all that is sort of like in these 2 witnesses who are those who represent God on this earth and speaking. So these 2 witnesses are representative. Now, they could be 2 physical people, but what you've got to say is the people in the 7 churches got to look at those 2 and say, "I'm on their side."
Yeah.
They represent me. I want to be like a 2 witness.
Yeah.
I want to be one of the 2 witnesses. I want to be a 2 witness here on earth. I might not be the 2 witness, but I want to be
A 2 witness.
A 2 witness. I'm doing the same. When they finished out the testimony, the beast comes up out of the abyss and will make war with them and overcome them and kill them. First mention of the beast.
Well, yeah.
We're into chapter 11. The beast has just made his appearance.
Yeah.
And he's not really explained. He's just, and the beast comes and he makes war with them. We're at war with the... Now, I'm identifying with the 2 witnesses. Suddenly there's a beast who makes war with them.
And he kills them.
And kills them. What? And their dead bodies will lie in the street of the great city, which is mystically called Sodom and Egypt. So which city is that? People were like, that must be Rome. It's probably Rome. Because, Rome sort of hit, But where also their Lord was crucified. Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to go down some rabbit holes, just try and work out what is that city. Oh, it must be Jerusalem, but is it Sodom and Egypt, Babylon? Yes. Mystically it's called. Spiritually it's called. In other words, it's the essence of a spirit thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerusalem was Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is the new Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is the great city where, and Jerusalem is what we sing about every Christmas with
David Hobson.
But Jerusalem was also where Jesus was crucified.
Yeah.
So when Jesus was crucified, I'm saying the spirit of Babylon was strong in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Because they were identifying with the wrong spirit by crucifying. And from those people and tribes and tongues and nations look at their dead bodies for 3.5 days. 3.5 days. And
that's incomplete.
Incomplete. And they will not permit their dead bodies be laid in a tomb. And those who dwell on the earth will rejoice over them, make merry, and they will send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented those who dwell on the earth. This sounds very literal. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of, that's why I think, it probably does sound like two real bodies. And after 3.5 days, so remember, I'm in them, I'm with the seven, I'm with the two, I'm with the, they get killed by the beast. Ooh. And after 3.5 days, it's not the whole thing. It's a 3.5. It's not finished.
Yeah.
It's not finished. The breath of life from God came into them, and they stood up on their feet, and the great fear fell upon all those who were beholding them. And they heard a loud voice from heaven saying, "Come up here." And they went up into heaven in the cloud. I am with them.
Yeah.
I was not sure for a moment, but now I realise I'm on their team. I'm on team two witnesses.
I always knew.
Yeah.
I was.
You never went quiet. You never.
Yeah.
And that hour there was a great earthquake, and 1/10 of the city fell, and 7,000 people were killed in the earthquake.
By 7,000, I'm going to guess they're talking about a vast fullness.
Yeah.
No, because 7 is...
1/10 of the city fell.
7 is perfection, and then 1,000. Would that be those two numbers together? 7,000.
7,000.
So divine. A divine vastness.
A great full earthquake.
Yeah.
A really big, and 1/10 of the city fell. 1/10 of the tithe. 10 represents the whole thing. This represents a representative part of the city fell, and a full number
a great vastness.
A big full number of people got killed, and so if it was 3,500, it'd be like 7,000. Oh, it's significant.
Yeah.
3.5. 7. Yeah. That's boy. And the rest were terrified, gave glory to God of heaven. That's the first time that people actually responded. Up until now, whenever it said that you can actually do a little study, look in the words, they do not repent. Well, all those plagues come, and at the end it says, they do not repent.
Yeah.
They do not repent.
Yeah.
This time, the two witnesses have just been killed and raised, and this happens, and we're actually scared.
Yeah.
Something's actually happening. Do you know what I mean? And part of it can be like, is it because, see, when the power is hitting them, I won't repent. But when two guys die for their testimony, and God raises them, and then the power falls, people respond. Do you know what I mean? It's like, sometimes we just want the power.
Yeah.
But it's the great lion, his power came through his death. He's the lamb that was slain. So in the whole book of Revelation, you've got to see that power is to those who are dying. The true power is in those who die. Jesus is the ultimate power.
Yeah.
And then all those that die are connected with his power.
Yeah.
And even the truth of our faith is you have to die to yourself to,
Our power comes from our...
No longer I who live, but Christ in me.
Yep. Yep. Would that be relevant to the... Yes, not just physical. It's the whole attitude. It's like, this is not about me trying to make me big. It's about me embracing God. And that is a death process. But the death process is the one that wins.
Yeah.
And overcomes. All right? And so then the 7th trumpet sounds. Da-da-da-da. So finally we get the 7th trumpet. And so we've sort of had couple of sevens. We had the 7 seals, we had the 7 trumpets, we've had a few little interludes come in there. And but in the 7th one, we had the 2 witnesses, and we had the beast. Hang on a sec.
Shouldn't he have been there before?
Yeah, who is the beast? Who is this beast? What is this? Who is the beast? Because we've never had. It's all been what God's doing. You know, and you have had the locusts and all the weird stuff and stuff like that. But the beast, who is this beast? Who is this beast? And that's for next week. Who is this beast? Because now we stop and we do take a moment. Who is this beast? How does this all fit in? And we have the woman and the dragon. Who is the woman?
Who is the dragon?
Who is the dragon? And how does the beast
Who is
and
Gomorrah?
and the great sign appeared?
Why is Gomorrah?
A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And she was with child, and she cried out, being in labour and pain, to give birth. Who is that woman?
Who is the child?
Chronologically, it means that this is happening. A lot of people are saying this is halfway into the, so I'm guessing. I actually don't know where it all fits, but I'm guessing it's like halfway into the tribulation.
Yeah. Well, the second woes just happened, so
halfway, some woman gives birth. Not necessarily. Now you can be looking at something that's like, wow, that's back here, and this is back there, and we're seeing them all overlay. Who is this woman? Who is this woman? Well, you've got to wait till next week to find out is this woman.
That was a really cool.
Is it Mary? Is it someone else? Oh, I've taken off the
That was such a good. That's a really interesting academy. I think.
That was so good.
I think seeing just the misunderstanding and just really getting a better understanding of what Revelation is truly about. It's not about fearing the tribulation, and it's not about avoiding the tribulation. Revelation is about picking the side and staying with Jesus. Can
I just say, some people think if it's not about avoiding the tribulation, it's about embracing the tribulation. No. It's not about embracing the tribulation. It's
about embracing Jesus.
Yeah.
It's about picking his side. It's about dying to yourself and about being willing to and leaning into Christ in everything we do, Yeah,
let's turn it off.
Thank you to everyone for joining us today. That was such a... I hope you enjoyed it as much.
So
you guys enjoyed it as much as I. That was a really amazing. And
I encourage you to read through Revelation, and we've only got chapter 12 is like, now we talk about the main players. We've got the chapter 12
before we take them,
and now we're going to open our eyes. Now we got the beast, we got the dragon, we got the woman.
Lots of players.
That's cool.
And you read a couple more chapters in, you get the whore of Babylon. It's all now. It's the personification of things.
Yeah.
Real people, like is the dragon. Who is the dragon?
The two. Who are the
beast? The other beast.
No, like from chapter 11, the two.
Two witnesses.
The two witnesses.
Yeah. So, and guess who makes a reappearance? The 144,000.
No.
Significant. So
I've decided to follow Jesus. That's exactly how you should end Revelation. I think that is exactly that. Because again, if it came back to why did John write it to the 7 churches? At the end of that, for the 7 churches, they should say, I'm going all in on Christ. I'm all in on Jesus right now. That should be how you read Revelation, and that means you're understanding Revelation.
It's not necessarily about having like the right answers or the right understanding, but through all of this has been having the right perspective. Where you're looking at the things that
really
are
good.
important that matter.
And it's building who it is. And then we get to chapter 21, I think it is, and there's a lake of fire. Whoa! So the judgments come, I think, 20 and 21. And then 22, the New Jerusalem, the bride of Christ. Woo! And so the further it goes, that gets all sorted. And we end up here. And in the 7 letters, it talks about those times right at the end in the letters. So the aim is you are to get all the way through and embrace this. So we're about here. Now we're going to get the personalities. Then you get the lake of fire, and then you get up here.
That's cool.
And so that's by the end you're meant to be. I'm in.
I love that. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. This has been so much fun. I'm loving this. Another thing we've been loving is recently at church, it's been such an amazing last couple months at church. We've got leaning on from our study of Revelation. We've been studying a new series where we've been discussing the, going after
the whole purpose.
The whole purpose of Revelation, the whole purpose of why Jesus did all this, the whole purpose of Revelation is to follow Christ. And, one of the other things I often think with Revelation that is just such a sad realization is that so many people read Revelation and they're like, am I going to be safe? Can I keep myself from the tribulation? It's like, am I good? Okay, sweet, we're done. And it's like,
do I need to store up food now?
Yeah, am I good? Like, what about the idea of, well, there's people going for this, and that's quite clearly not what, like, my heart when I read that is like, hey, I want to get more people on this team. I want to get the people around me on this team. I want to get the people around me in a place where they can feel that the safety and where they can die to themselves and living for Christ, because that's what this is all about. That's what makes it worth it. Not, oh sweet, I'm safe, we're done. That's the worst way to read Revelation.
Because one group is spiraling out of control.
Exactly.
And it's like, we want to rescue people.
Exactly.
Out of it.
That's it. This should do nothing but make you more compassionate for the world around you.
Yeah.
Yet so many people read Revelation coming away like, oh good, I'm safe. And like, that's just the opposite of it.
And I see, literally people, I've sort of got this, this is pretty interesting reading, but I'm glad I'm not there.
Exactly. No.
And I was like,
well, someone is.
Well, yeah,
your neighbour is.
And it's almost like, well, I've got to fill them with fear so they will also, no. It's
fear-based
got to get faith that,
exactly.
So that's the whole point that we're trying to fill ourselves with that.
And that's what we've been talking about at church, is how we can be those people. How can we be the people that get that hunger? How can we get that compassion? How can we stir in ourselves that faith and that desire and that love for the world around us? We've been having an amazing time. Join us this Sunday for that. Pastor Christine is speaking this Sunday, or is that next Sunday, I believe? One of the 2 Sundays. I need to check the roster. Someone's speaking this Sunday, though, and it'll be really good. We're excited. Join us 10 a.m. on Sunday in Bayswater, Australia, or online.
Can I say, out of all the people that need to say Pastor Christine probably needs to know that more than anyone.
Well, you're the other one, because if it's not her, it's probably you. So one of the 2 of you need to know by then. It'll be so good to have her. Join us, as we said, next Sunday, in person or online, as we study, the true essence of what we should take out of this is.
Until they come back here next Friday.
Yes.
We'll all just be going on a quick week-long worship break.
Yes, we're taking a quick worship break, and we'll be back next Friday.
We'll be back next Friday, okay?
Exactly.
Start singing, and
we'll be back in a moment.
Friday, right?
Thank you so much for joining us all. It's been so good. Thank you to Judith, to Joe and Sheba, to Mark, to Claire, to Pastor Christine. Pastor Christine, let us know if you're preaching. To Katie, to KTMT, to Lee, to everyone who's joined us today. Thank you on behalf of myself, Pastor Peter and Josh.
See you, everyone.
See you guys. Bye for now.